Starting record. Oh, okay, boys, we're live. Welcome to
Let's go around the table.
whatever this is. Today we're going to be discussing The Social Network, directed by David Fincher, written by Aaron Sorkin, and it came out in 2010. Deep dive with, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Matthew Dom, professional Bob Dylan stan.
Oh my gosh, that's a terrible way to introduce yourself.
Christopher Torres of Asher and Bob Dylan is average.
What if every time people introduce themselves, they just gave their thoughts on Bob Dylan's music?
The new formal
I really wish that
introduction.
could become a social convention.
Yeah, like the Japanese have the bow when they meet each other, but
Yeah,
we can have
What's
your thoughts on Bob Dylan?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's good to have you here on the pod, boys.
It's been a while. It's been a couple
a long
months.
time. Quarantine life. This is how we're keeping ourselves busy.
Mhm.
So, I guess, Chris, when did you watch the movie? How fresh off?
It's like 5 hours fresh.
Okay.
It's sunk in now. My impressions right after are very different, drastically different from how they are now.
Oh, so
Wow.
I have a lot to say.
Imagine if we did this pod in another 5 hours.
It would be even crazier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Who knows?
Matt, when did you watch it?
I watched it maybe 5 days ago, somewhere in
Okay.
the last
Not
couple
that bad.
days.
So I watched it maybe 5 months ago. But I have seen it maybe 5 times. So
Wow.
I do have a lot to say, but I'm not as fresh on it. But I have a good memory, so I think I can keep up with you guys in the discussion. So
Best scene first. Best scene.
yeah. First of all, what was your favorite scene, and then what you think the best scene was, and why?
Okay.
Chris, you can go first.
Favorite scene? I definitely liked the club scene. Was very good. I liked the loud music, and you couldn't really hear what they're saying.
Oh yeah, I was
most club scenes have like super low music, and it's like super called out, spotlights on the actors, but it's kind of cool.
I was telling Matt this before you came on that they actually shot that scene without music, and he just had them scream at each other, and then added them later.
That's interesting.
But it works well. All right, so that was your favorite scene. What do you think the best scene in the movie was?
That's a tough one.
Yes, it is. I have to think. I have to prepare for this.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. I just do favorite scene first. Matt, go.
Okay, Matt, go.
Favorite scene: Henley Royal Regatta.
Of course.
I would say, yeah. I mean,
boats himself.
I did like that one. That was right after the club.
It's the most cinematic, for sure. It's really the only sort of what you could call action in the movie. It's the only thing that's I think I'm gonna want to rewatch.
He does run across the quad when it's snowing and slides. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was very college. That was very that's good.
But yeah, you're right. It was cool with the depth of field and everything when they were going in and out of focus on the boat.
In the Hall of the Mountain King.
Yeah, the remix Hall of.
Did I like that scene?
That was cool. So that's your favorite. Geez, my favorite scene has to be when the Winklevoss twins meet with the dean of Harvard. I just think there's so many quotable lines. That scene's hilarious. Just like when he's reading the Harvard Student Handbook and he stops him, he's like, "And punch me in the face." That one gets me every time. Good line. I like that scene. That's my favorite. Okay, and if anyone has a best scene, speak up.
I don't know if I do.
I have a different best. My best is best two characters, which are the Winklevi. I like them the most. They're the only interesting people in this movie, and I think they're the best characters.
Okay.
Hot take.
So that's you think the best character? I think
most interesting.
I don't know. I think Mark was really interesting, but I also think Sean Parker was super interesting too. Eduardo was likable, but I don't know if he was interesting. You kind of knew everything about him from the get-go.
See, what I would say there is that you know everything about almost everyone in this movie from the get-go.
Yeah, pretty static characters.
How does Mark Zuckerberg change over the course of the movie?
Well, this is the one thing I wanted to.
Parker.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Do your characters have to change? I think
there's
Mark definitely changes, but I don't think having to change is a requirement to make it a good movie. The Winklevoss start the movie.
No, you understand. You understand the Mark character, or at least his motivations are made a little clearer throughout the.
Which is because his girlfriend broke up with him he blogs facesmash.com, and that kind of gets him the recognition he's always wanted in the Harvard newspaper, which is he crashed their entire server. So that kind of kickstarted, and then because of that, the Winklevoss contacted him to make the Harvard connection, and then he began working on Facebook. And I don't know, that's the only thing I always thought was weird. It was like his motivations, it seemed, they were always there, but like he didn't get the chance to do it until he got that recognition from crashing the website. So like, I don't think it was like, I think we picked up in the movie when he had like already developed as a character to the point where like he wanted to do something like build a website like that.
Yeah, so let's like focus on that then. That like what he has developed into as a finished product for this movie is an Asperger's tech bro who is very misogynistic
and
not good at making friends with people.
No, but the word, I think the reason
that's just not the most like interesting person to
tell us about. Yeah. But it's also not the worst part. That's not the worst part.
And the reason it's interesting is because Mark Zuckerberg isn't like that in real life. So there's definitely...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why I didn't like it like 5 hours after.
But there's a reason David Fincher made him.
I guess, but it just feels like...
What is it?
It just feels like people, like the director and Sorkin, or Fincher and Sorkin, were just like using real people to push their own narrative of like how events didn't play out, or who people are and are, And it's kind of damaging in ways too. I think it kind of damages
historical accuracy. Like,
yeah, I know, but like people don't know that it's not completely historical, so then it does damage them in some way.
That is true.
And it probably
that's why, because I like when I first like when I first watched it, I was like, I like it, but then I found out a lot of it's exaggerated heavily, and it's just I don't know.
So yeah, I
mean, if it was entirely accurate, I did like it in the end, but
I can agree with the fact that they should have maybe done more, whether it was post credits or during the movie, to clarify that liberties were taken, like inspired by true events instead of
that would have been a little bit better.
Because
I mean, Mark was painted in a bad light too. I mean, it said it wasn't even
on the situation to know that it like took liberties.
Yeah, it's fine. That would have been better for sure. Yeah,
with you that people aren't. So yeah, I would agree that they should have done more to like let the public know that it wasn't like completely a true story.
Yeah,
but
some of it is damaging.
I think the positive side of that is like one thing I've always hated in film is like just the
strict
or like saturation of biopics and like the insanity right now where they want to make him like look exactly the same, like get the voice down.
Like, I don't like those either.
From the photo and like this.
There's no point really.
Yeah, it's like, why are you trying to make it like look exactly the same when like
I agree that too.
A coherent story. Like The Theory of Everything, I think, is just like a sappy romantic drama that takes Stephen Hawking and focuses only on the romantic aspects of his life, which is a idiotic way to make a movie about Stephen Hawking. And
that to be fair, that's what he's most well known for, is the romantic parts of his life, not groundbreaking theoretical physics or anything.
I disagree with that, but so I did like how this movie just threw that out the window. It's like, we're not going to try to make this like accurate. Yeah. Focus on making this like a psychological thriller almost.
I feel like it should be either that or like pure documentary, narrative at all, like extra narrative, It's like either complete documentary or like that. I also don't like when people make like biography films on like actual artists who have like expressed exactly how they felt the entire lives, and the director wants to like say they felt some way, when the artists express themselves their entire lives,
Exactly.
Unless there's like a crucial misunderstanding of the artist. I mean, I don't really like that either.
So this is sort of what I saw as a difference between The Social Network and the Steve Jobs biopic, was that Steve Jobs was portrayed as an artist, and I don't think you can describe what the Mark Zuckerberg character in this movie does as being artistic at all. And I think that's sort of why it's a less interesting movie to me, because it just seems like he doesn't have a very creative project that he's trying to achieve. He just has like a vindictive, resentful project that he's trying to achieve,
like
of self-empowerment.
Like inspired, yeah. But like, I don't know. So that's just made it less interesting to you, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like I don't understand what you find interesting in this movie.
Well, what I find interesting is like
Well, the actual like Facebook concept.
How revolutionary Facebook was. Yeah, like social media in general, and like just it's not Facebook wasn't the first. It's like really stresses the relationship that Harvard and Facebook have and how like exclusivity and like accepting someone's friend request or requesting someone as a friend on like Facebook and Instagram was kind of an idea that came from that. Like MySpace existed before, but it just didn't have that like exclusivity aspect, which I think is really cool that the movie explores.
But the movie isn't about Facebook, it's about Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it have focused more on...
But it's not about Mark Zuckerberg, it's about like David Fincher's version of Mark Zuckerberg, who I think is far more than real Mark Zuckerberg.
That's exaggerated to dramatize it.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you were Mark Zuckerberg and you were watching this?
I know, it is damaging because he seemed like an asshole, but he really wasn't. I don't think he's just...
Wait, watching this pod or the movie? Because if he watches the pod, he'd be like, "Oh, they don't think I'm interesting."
Yeah, even worse. Yeah.
No, just like listening, having to listen to himself saying like stupid things.
Like I'm hacking into the whatever. The first line is bad.
In the entire world.
Wait, like, what? What line?
Oh no, the opening scene was bad. That was bad.
There are people in other kind living in the United States.
Is that true?
That was
there's 330 million people in the United States and like 1 billion in China. That would mean that 1 in every 3 people in China has a genius level IQ. At which point you're not describing people who are geniuses.
Well, maybe I just thought the dialogue and the way they delivered it was pretty impressive. Like even if
I thought the point of the first scene was good. Like the point it was making, I just felt it was a little contrived. Like he was using
What point was that Mark Zuckerberg was Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh no! I mean that person, the character can only see problems relative to his own, and he can't understand that other people have exact like it's just as difficult for them, even though the severity, like on a large scale, is different.
Mm-hmm. It is sort of a portrait in autism, isn't it? Like you really understand other minds, and that
it's more like sociopath tendencies than like autistic tendencies because he's not like behind people. Like I feel like he understands them. He just like
it's just like, nearsighted. I don't think he's like out to. He's just nearsighted. He can't see that.
Well, he's not like a sociopath. Obviously, like tendencies is what I meant by that. But anyway, I was surprised. Like after watching that first scene, I was just kind of like, well, then like, why did you date him at all? Because he seemed like kind of a jerk. Like,
that's him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when maybe she was impressed by him because when he was like, I got a 1600.
Well, he's obviously smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also, how are we feeling about the hate on the BU? You know.
I see.
The BU slander was entirely unnecessary. I mean, BU was probably like a top 10th institution for like academic institutions in the U.S.
School,
yeah. I mean, were those like a blog post accurate, or is that the blog post accurate, or is that just made up?
I'm assuming that they made that up.
Because I mean, like, it's kind of messed up to like write the B word thing, and
those were definitely made up. Yeah, he didn't. Eric.
I think there would be a big problem for him if he had done that.
No, the whole inspiration that like it was like a girlfriend that's like totally fabricated. Like if you ask Mark Zuckerberg, he's like, "Oh, I just like thought it was cool." I was like, he was not like inspired like to impress but I just think that's a more interesting concept, like not just some dude in a garage like, oh, let's like try this out, like what. I just think it's cool that like he had a motive.
Because I mean life isn't like perfectly dramatized, like narratives are, so you have to compensate for that. You have to exaggerate to make it more dramatic.
Exactly.
Or add something.
It just shows how flawed he is as a person, that the inspiration for what he's going to be best known for was that he was a jerk to someone, and they told him that basically, because what happens there?
Full circle. I mean, in the last scene, he's requesting her.
Oh, it's tragic, yeah. Like no matter everything he did, he couldn't get that exclusivity of her relationship.
That isn't full circle though, because that's just
it was full circle.
No, it's just him displaying the same trait.
It's just tragic,
which is sure.
Oh no, I mean.
In that it's like repetition. that's
like
not a full circle.
He did like everything he did and like everything he got still couldn't get what he wanted when he first started.
Yeah, and I mean the whole like line where she's like, "You're girls won't like you because you're an a-hole," and then like at the end she's like, "You're not. You're just trying so hard to be one." Like that was some character development there.
Yeah, but I don't think that's even true because I don't see him be not an a-hole once in this movie.
Like, I think she also meant like wanting to be in Phoenix or whatever, right? The frat.
I think that's the insecurity is like I think that he can't because he can't get into the Phoenix, he can't row crew. I'm just gonna pause there. And I think that's sort of what motivates the a-hole behavior, but the a-hole behavior is still a constant throughout the movie.
Well, you see, like when he like shafts Eduardo out of the company, that he like feels bad about it, like it hurts him.
Well, he had a pretty easy remedy there, which would be to not do that.
Well, I mean, when it's done, and you can see which actually
the CEO.
What do you mean?
Reality is whatever he says it is.
I know, but like
give him the company.
He ruined his relationship. Like it's over, and he was getting sued. I also liked the aspect of telling the story through like the depositions and the lawsuits. I thought that was a more interesting way to do it than just like straight.
That was interesting. It was an interesting narrative device.
But like the one scene that's like a little. Like I get what you're saying, Matt, is like the one where he's like, "Do I have your full attention?" And he's like, "No, like you don't deserve it." And then he's like, "Why?" And then he goes on that tirade where he's like, "Your clients stand on their shoulders or stand on other people's shoulders, and I'm doing stuff that they're not intellectually capable of doing." Like, did I adequately answer your condescending question? It's like, oh, epic, like nerd.
Yeah, epic owned.
I think they just put that so like that could be like the scene, Like I didn't. And that wasn't doing much for like his character, the plot, as much as it was doing for like entertainment value. So like it's a fun scene to watch, but I get like complaints when talking about that scene.
Yeah, I mean also the character lies a lot throughout, but I mean some of the lies are like promoting his own insecurities and it hurts like Eduardo, and then some of the lies are like lying to the clients to get there first. I mean there's a difference in those lies.
Yeah, so that's one thing that's interesting is I've watched this multiple times and like I haven't really made up my mind on like if he like stole the idea because like it doesn't.
Well, he also definitely led him on to believe so he could get ahead to that point.
Yeah,
so.
But like, is that illegal or is that just a smart move? Like what are your thoughts on
that? Well, I don't think. I mean, he outplayed him for sure, but I mean, it's just do those guys deserve decency? Which is probably they probably do deserve decency. And I don't think they're not like idiots. So I mean, they should probably get credit. But they also like are kind of stuck in the past throughout the whole movie too. Like they don't want to move on either, and that's kind of shown. But also like lying to Eduardo though, I don't know if that was it didn't do anything. I mean, I heard.
I think that's the thing. It's like the first time in the movie where like he realizes he made like the wrong decision, and that's shown by like the next scene, which is where like Sean gets caught at the party with like cocaine, and it's like he realizes he's a liability to the company.
Yeah.
Because you can tell it was kind of Sean who was leading the whole get Eduardo out of the company thing. Because like Mark's like, "Why do you do this to me?" And Sean's over there like, "We think we'd let you put around your ridiculous suits." And then it's like much more personal with them. It's like, is this because like I didn't get into the Phoenix or something? And it's like
I think like Eduardo did deserve decency from Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah,
but I mean did Sean deserve decency? Maybe not, or did those other clients deserve decency? And so much like you're not lying to them to get ahead. I mean, who knows? But I mean, Eduardo, I don't think deserved. He did deserve decency at least. I mean, I don't know if Sean did because he didn't what he called the cops or whatever he's implying, or he lied.
Well, he's implying in which scene when
the cops are called at the end. I mean, or for on Sean.
Yeah, Sean's like blaming Eduardo for that. He's like, it wasn't.
Yeah, that too.
That's when Mark realized this guy's just like paranoid. He's liable.
Yeah, or projecting his own insecurities on other people, same as like Mark was doing earlier with the chicken or whatever.
That was hilarious. That is another thing. I think this movie's like really, really funny.
It was entertaining. I don't know if I was like.
It was Aaron Sorkin.
I think I guess I really like Aaron Sorkin's writing style. So when he's like talking about opening up a Facebook page for his art history exam and like hopping on and starting.
Oh, that was good. Like, yeah. I mean, some of the dialogue dipped a little, but for the most part, yeah, that's pretty good. I think. What?
I wish more of it would dip. It's so like hyper verbalized and just
yeah, it's and it's a little contrived because of that, I think.
Yeah,
it's obviously not like a realistic way people talk to each other, but it does.
I like the voiceovers too and stuff.
Does make for a very good like entertaining watch, I think, which is what Sorkin usually does.
I do think some scenes could have been shot better, technically.
Which one?
Like the first scene, it's just unnecessary cutting. I did like the cutting work for the rowing scene that Matt was talking about. Like that was good cutting.
No, very bad. Oh, you
no. The earlier rowing scene was bad. I thought the first rowing scene was terribly shot. They should have just
there were like 5 seconds long.
Things about. I want to have a breakdown on that scene because I have multiple.
Which one? The first or second one?
The first rowing scene.
But that was like 3
seconds. Yeah, I hated it. It was bad. That's bad.
First of all, I don't like that they were talking. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, they're so much better than everyone.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, they were like destroying everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not really realistic. Imagine if that was like UCLA basketball and somebody just scored like their 100th point in like an inter-team scrimmage. Like, it's just kind of ridiculous that 2 guys at Harvard were that much faster than the rest of the people at Harvard, the 3rd best rowing school in the country. Like, really?
But you're going to fault the movie for that? Like, the movie was basically trying to establish that the Winklevoss were like beasts and they were so much better than everyone.
Well, even the dialogue. Trying to establish that they were jerks because they were like.
Oh, that's why it's contrived because it doesn't.
Like,
they'd have to get out and swim to catch up. We'd have to get out and swim, and then they couldn't catch us.
It's a good
but
line.
My other problem with that is that the way they cut it. Ever been a rowing boat? It looks like they're about to crash into you, and then they go right past you, and they're headed towards the shore, and it's like, this is not good.
It should have just been a long shot. I firmly believe a long shot would have better.
I'm not even sure what the point of it is.
It's just their character.
Yeah, it's a little thrown in.
It's like the character introduction scene.
But it's like they row. They could have just had a normal video of a practice or something. I don't know.
Like the blowout you're saying, yeah. No, but I think the biggest hamper on this film was the format. The format was bad. Like the format, the ratio. I don't know. I just feel like everything is being cut off.
What was it?
I feel like
wider, right?
I just felt like everything is being cut off, like people's heads, and
interesting.
I feel like it would have looked a lot better if it was just a little taller.
Okay, I'll look for that next time I watch it. I can't refute that because I mean it was a short, thin aspect ratio. But all right, so we're talking about that scene. I guess, like dialogue-wise, if we were just strictly to focus on the dialogue, I think it works well as like a introduction.
The rowing.
When they're like, you could row forward, I could row backward, and then he's like, we're genetically identical. Science says we stay in the same place.
No, science says you'll go in a circle because your oars are on different sides of the boat.
I'm so sorry.
Morons.
Let's see. Let's try this out.
That's how you turn. Like, that's literally how you turn around in a rowing boat.
Not as effective, is it?
It's by having one.
It's just Aaron Sorkin trying to make every line of his movie a quotable line, and that's what he always does.
It's like, how can I win an Oscar for this?
Well, he did.
Yeah.
Well done.
He did get an Oscar for this.
Yeah, he won Best Original Screenplay, which I agree with. It was the best screenplay of the year.
Probably. I mean, I don't know what else.
Must have been a slow year.
I don't know. Like, honestly, when I watched this for the first time, I didn't like it that much. I thought it ended early. I was like, is that it?
No, that the end was good, but I don't know if the Beatles was the best song for that.
Yeah,
it just felt a little
what off. What was it?
I don't remember.
Baby,
You're a Rich Man, I think.
Oh, interesting.
It was just too light. I felt like it could have went on a little.
I think the lightness would actually play there because it's like it would be ironic.
Not like super dark. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean like super dark for the music.
Well, but I think it's supposed to be like it's showing how shallow his victory is, right? By playing this sort of airy.
Oh, that too. Or silence might
have
worked.
You just made all this money and everybody hates you.
Well, he didn't use money in the last scene, like a lot of it.
No, the last frame was really good. When he's like super upset and it says youngest billionaire, whatever. That was pretty good. I like that. That's ironic.
So Matt earlier this week was like making an argument that if your movie has like text explaining what happened, but like I liked how the text was just like he's the youngest.
I like the last text. I mean, no, that's because it's like ironic that the text is ironic at that point.
But like I didn't
it's
really
like youngest billionaire, but he's not happy or he's not fulfilled anyway, satisfied. That's what I mean.
Because like saying that like, oh, these people settled for this amount of money is basically saying like I couldn't find a way to work this into the dialogue in the movie without it sounding clunky, so I just put it
without me not winning an Oscar.
I mean, I don't even know if it's necessary to say.
The
end of the
I don't think.
I don't know if that was the point.
Really,
I don't think that was the point of it. Yeah.
It just gave me like. High school coming of age movie vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
this. I don't think it's necessary. Or like,
they rode for the U.S. Olympic team in Beijing and placed sixth.
Oh yeah,
that was.
I just don't know if it was
like the Breakfast Club music in the background. That was just the
vibe. I mean, I just think like the reason like what Matt said they chose like an upbeat song is because it's like you're watching and you're like, whoa, like you just lost a lot of money. This girl walks out of the room and then you're like, what's he doing? And then it's like you see it's his ex and you're like, oh, ha ha ha. And then it's like like
oh no, that was the tragic part, that he's friend requesting someone that he couldn't get. Like he still couldn't like he still couldn't, that relationship still didn't work for him, whether or not he was the youngest billionaire or whatever. You know, like he didn't gain that exclusivity in that relationship.
I don't think that you can really like describe the movie as a tragedy though when it
no, that aspect was tragic.
It gives you, I mean, it just gave me no reason for sympathy with the main character.
I felt bad for Eduardo.
No, it's not. I don't feel bad for Mark. I'm just saying it's tragic that he didn't find what he wanted, even though he did all that.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad. I don't think you have to feel bad.
It's not that tragic then if it doesn't make you feel bad.
That's not true.
No, he didn't have what he wanted. I mean, it's not.
A tragedy can star a jerk, and like that's why it's a tragedy.
No, because if a tragedy stars a jerk, we call it comeuppance. We say, he got what he deserved.
No, the jerk didn't realize that what he's doing wasn't really what he wanted, or like wasn't working toward what he wanted.
Like Macbeth's a tragedy, right? And Macbeth is kind of a terrible guy.
But you have some sympathy for him because he's established, you know, he's a good fighter.
I don't. I hope that he dies at the end because he's like killed so many people. But it's still a tragedy because he's your main character. So that's.
I mean, it's tragic. People try really hard and do all this stuff, and they're still not even working toward what they want, like, or what they actually want. Like, you know,
exactly.
That's tragic. Whether or not it's marked is the focus on.
Yeah. So. We've been talking about like themes and stuff. Let's get into the specifics of the probably the most controversial thing, which is like David Fincher's style of like the rapid cutting. Like I don't know. I think it works really well with the quick dialogue, but in some scenes,
in a lot of scenes, it does work. I liked it. Like when Facebook like first went online, that cutting was really good. Like the fast cuts of like on screen stuff. I just think like when two people are talking, I don't know if it always has to cut. You know, I don't know if like it's required to cut every time someone changes talking.
I just felt like it's like every conversation in the movie was trying to be like a really intense conversation. Like there were.
Yeah, it was a ton of, every single time someone changed speaking, it like would cut.
And the cutting,
which I didn't feel was necessary.
Yeah,
it's distracting. Yeah, unless it's like high intensity, it's kind of distracting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Matt, any thoughts?
I have no thoughts except that the rapid cutting combined with fast-paced dialogue just contributes to a lack of
development.
No, like what's it called? You know, when it ends and you're like, oh, that was good. You know, you're like satisfied. You're like, oh, that was fun.
I agree.
Yeah. It is a movie.
It is an unfulfilling, useless movie.
Unfulfilling.
Well, I think it has to slow. I think plots have to slow down and pick up and slow down. I don't know if it could be one.
Yeah, there's no moment of catharsis.
Well, I mean, after he gets chewed out by Eduardo, and then they cut to the courtroom scene. He's like, "You had
the courtrooms are a little slower, yeah. Courtrooms are a little slower.
I mean, that was a little slow, but yeah, it was a relatively fast-paced movie between the cuts and the dialogue and the amount of montages. So yeah. All right, let's see what else I want to talk about.
You guys can talk about Molly's Game if you want. Then.
Well, I mean,
or if it relates to
the point.
This one.
Why do you think that was a better movie? Yeah,
because they're both fundamentally unartistic movies that are just basic cheap entertainment where there's a plot and it's like, oh, he's gonna make Facebook, oh, she's gonna run a ring, and it was better at doing that than The Social Network. It was just more entertaining.
They're unartistic.
And neither of them, in contrast to the Steve Jobs documentary, neither of them are real artistic expressions that actually have something meaningful to say about either their subjects or anything else.
I mean, I think stylistically, The Social Network picked up around like the club scene and the rowing scene. If that would have been maintained throughout it, but then some scenes just dragged. Like a lot of the party scenes were just like not that. There's very little style at all, or no,
but like but I don't even mean style in like the technical sense, like of how films are shot and whatever.
Okay.
I mean like in the sense that it is something more than just a passing distraction. That there's actually something deeper going on. That there's some, universal story that we can like appeal to. That kind of thing.
Well, I mean, Fincher was like actually when it came out that he would be directing the already pretty famous script that had leaked, people were like upset because he's a very stylistic director, with like Fight Club and his earlier films. And it was like, why are you making a movie where it's just like people talking in rooms? So he was like, I think everyone was aware he was kind of limiting himself in a way, by making a movie where it's like dialogue driven. But
yeah, but my issue isn't with the way that it's cut or shot. It is with the script, and it is typical of Aaron Sorkin that I think it's just more style and not substance.
Yeah,
that there's really not anything that compelling going on beyond the witty banter and wordplay.
Mm-hmm. It is
because the witty banter doesn't really do much at all in the end.
Yeah, there's like the quotable lines maybe will stick with you, but there is no, like, to use a cliche, there is no moral to the story. There isn't.
Yes, I don't like the effectiveness of what you're trying to say. Like if it or entertainment is like like how effective something is. So like you have to have something there to say in the first place, and then like style and how entertaining it is just promotes what you're actually trying to say there instead of like just solely style or solely entertainment.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely like promotion of his own work in it with like stylistic choices, but like I would argue that Social Network has more to say about like a moral than like Molly's Game does. I mean, Molly's Game. I would
say they have the same to say, which is zero. Well, they just fall into the category of like entertainment. It's like a
Social Network's about like, I don't know, like let me pull the notes up.
Yeah.
I think it's like a light character study-ish of Mark, like the factors at least, but it doesn't change enough that it's interesting or it's like nothing happens.
You say it's a character study about the Mark character. What do you learn?
But it doesn't change. Like what? No, yeah, no. It you just understand like how some people might lie to promote their own insecurities and stuff like that. Like I said, like you might learn that, but it's not it's not like a transformative picture. I would say it lacks that aspect.
Yeah. There's like self-victimization themes in there where he's like always playing the victim the whole movie, like thinks everyone's out to get him. I thought that was an interesting thing because Sean was like the personification of like the worst side of that, a guy who's like completely paranoid and like doesn't trust anybody. And then Eduardo's like the opposite of that, like someone who really wants to like work with everyone. And like Mark's kind of being pulled in both directions. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. What I'm going for is a contrast with the Steve Jobs movie. Is
what was your moral there?
It's about the way artists create the world they want to live in, and the way that the world that they come into isn't ready for them, and so they create a new one that they can live in. And that's actually that's the Bob Dylan analogy throughout the movie. Bob Dylan's actually a very important figure in the Steve Jobs movie because Bob Dylan is the archetypal artist who changed the world. You know, when Martin Luther King gave his speech at the March on Washington, Bob Dylan wasn't in the crowd. Bob Dylan was on stage because he had just sung. I think he sung "The Times They Are Changing," but I don't remember. And Steve Jobs took that role upon himself. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't see himself as a creative agent. He doesn't see his role in society as being creative. And so for that reason, it's a character study of him, but it's a boring character study because he's a boring character because he's just an insecure person trying to cover up for his flaws by tearing other people down through the anonymous blogging.
All that, and I think that's why he's interesting. Because I don't think you have to be a creative person to be an interesting person.
Okay, but I don't think he's an interesting person because he's
I think
flawed.
Yeah. I mean, if he would have changed, first of all, that takes away the predictability of their character. Like, say you don't always know how they'll act, and it also does add a complexity because you also don't know who they are and who they change to and why they're changing. So it's like instead of just a static character who you can predict how they will act at the start of the movie, but at the end too.
It did make him unpredictable because it's like it's cool that someone that flawed ends up succeeding and making like a $6 billion company or whatever. So like
I wouldn't.
That aspect, yeah, like succeeding, but he'd still be fine.
I don't think insecure narcissists are the kind of people we want running. You know, $100 billion.
The story is that I hate Mark Zuckerberg as a person, and the story is that
real life or in the movie.
In real life, he's not as in real life, he's fine. Yeah. In real life, he's a little like soulless. He looks a little soulless.
Yeah, in real life, he's kind of an ethical dude who like spies on. I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
I don't worry about Facebook. I think privacy is.
It's a little scary. He looks a little
Yeah, sure. He's weird looking. Whatever. I don't think Facebook is that bad. Like
no, Facebook's not out to kill anyone or.
My gosh, they're harvesting our data.
They are.
They're gonna sell you ads. Oh no.
It's not that. It's like they're learning. Google and Facebook are learning how the public thinks, and I think that's kind of alarming.
Well, that's already too late for that though. Like YouTube, that's the only reason Google maintains YouTube is to get the data from people, like to get what they want.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what you mean by they learn how people think. Like how do you learn how it, like focusing on the word how do you focus on how a person thinks through?
Because a compilation of data isn't like just purely what you're thinking and what you want to look up. It's like it shows patterns. It shows what changes your mind, what causes you to look up other things. Like where do you go after finding this information out?
And it's like, I mean, does that hurt either, or does it?
Yeah,
hurt
it's people? Like they have a direct window into how to become like one step ahead of you. They know how you think. Like I don't know. It's like when you're.
I don't think corporations care about people on an individual level. So I don't know if it's like. But I mean, like, not you. I'm not saying you, but some people are like, "Oh, no, Google knows all this about me," but Google doesn't care about that person at all. You know,
they don't until you're in a position of power, and then they have all.
Oh yeah, so that point, yeah. I'm just saying.
That alarms me. Like, say I become.
Then
judge. Then
I mean, the internet does. Yeah, the internet does. Yeah.
And like, I mean, I always wonder how much of.
Well, what do they learn about you? Your browsing data. Oh no.
They learn how I think.
Someone doesn't know how to use incognito mode.
That's hilarious.
I mean, there's a damaging stuff that goes on this internet.
Matt, if you're looking at it through that perspective, that's still looking at it being scared of them seeing what you think. And I'm not scared of that because I'm just looking at like normal stuff that a guy my age looks at, like Kanye West, whatever, you know. But like, what scares me about it is them like analyzing like thought patterns and trends and then like recommending certain videos to me. Like if you know
you're scared of that?
If you know how someone thinks, then you also know like what they may enjoy, so you can start to recommend certain videos and try to put them in a certain.
Doesn't help you though. Like I guess yeah. It
like
promotes
educated person
like generic
because I think they could mass educate.
No, it is a form of mass education. I agree.
Yeah, like. I mean, you can censor certain information.
Not necessarily taking the data, but yes, the algorithms are on. Yeah,
like, and that's using the data that you've given them. They know what you would click on, and they steer your mind.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't think we've seen like persuasive evidence about like sure they can do that and there will be some effect, like you'll be more likely to watch a video if they click on it, but we don't really have evidence of how strong that effect is.
No, it's very subliminal. It's subliminal. It's not outright.
And even then, it might just be that they make you more of that all they're able to do is make you more of who you are, because they can further specialize, like you click on a Kanye video and then you click on another one and then they get better and better at promoting to you Kanye material that you like.
But it depends on how complex the algorithm
is. Influence you by showing you like some Kendrick Lamar video. Like, does that mean you'll actually click on it?
No, it's like
then it's something like you hypothetically that you don't like, and then you just ignore it. So they can't actually make you do things you don't like. They just make you do more of the things that you do like.
I think they could slowly over time influence you. Like statistics show if I'm looking at YouTube and I see the same video like 10 times, I'm eventually going to watch it, right? Like
Yeah, but like what's their incentive to do that?
I mean, I'm just saying it
just feeds into corporate culture and feeds into the corporates.
Yeah, the possibilities there for them to, and with like elections and stuff, I think it's kind of sketchy if they're recommending.
No, they can't do anything for elections.
I don't think that's a naive mindset. I think Google has power over a lot of people, and if they're working hard to get algorithms that portray a candidate in a really bad light, videos and articles and people's like right on their browser that portrays them in a bad light, I think it's pretty easy to influence people to not like someone. So I mean, they're already doing it. Like Google has an incredible bias towards conservative candidates, and I think they're already like trying to, skew people's minds. Like why when you search up like Donald Trump or you search up like idiot, does like a picture of Trump come up? Like why?
Because people posted that, and then more people went to that after searching idiot. So it's not that Google put it there; it's that other people did.
I know, but like
the idiot is tagged a lot with Trump related.
Google should know that he's obviously like you're not supposed to put people like pictures of people and definitions of a word. So like Google should know that.
What should show up when you search idiot and go to images?
I mean, I don't know, but not like specific people because no one's like objectively an idiot, right? Like
I mean, it's also not Google deciding. It's also he definitely gets tagged a lot with the word idiot, so it just looks in.
I'm sure that if a picture of one of Google,
but yeah, it does at that point. Yes, it would promote people's opinion of him being an idiot. I'd agree. So if he comes up in the images tab, then yeah.
I'm not using that as an argument that like that's a flaw in Google's algorithm. I'm just saying like
it does promote it. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely influence the public, and to think they could is a pretty naive like.
Sure, but there are like lots of things that I would say probably have a stronger impact on the public than. See, I'm just like relatively cynical about the ability of advertising in general, which I think this can be classified under a form of advertising to influence politics and influence elections. Well, I mean, look at Mike Bloomberg. He spent like $500 million to win American Samoa.
Debate stage, which is
and then what happened? And then what
got there, which is like.
And then what happened?
And the guy was, of course, he lost because
he wasn't able to translate it to votes because he lacked the political skills necessary, despite having all the money in the world. He spent more than everybody else combined, and he won American Samoa.
You need the whole package, obviously, but it's still alarming that he got on the debate stage and he was like third in some states. Like what?
Yeah.
He had nothing.
Is it really alarming though? I mean, he was also a mayor of New York. He's not someone who just showed up. And then you can look at Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer is someone who just showed up. Like I don't even know what Tom Steyer's business is. He just showed up.
But he's been campaigning for a pretty long time. Bloomberg hopped in the race.
And he didn't get anything. He didn't get anything
because he didn't run
second most in the election.
Because he didn't run these ads. He didn't.
Tom Steyer did. Tom Steyer spent a ton of money,
but not as much as Bloomberg.
No, but Tom Steyer spent $200 million compared to other people who were spending like tens of millions at the most. Other
people were established names, Warren, Bernie, Biden. Those are established household political names. Like
Tom Steyer spent $1,600 for each vote he received.
Poor guy.
That's rough, dude.
Oh man. Some people just don't have it, but like neither did Bloomberg. So how did he get on the debate stage?
Maybe. Bloomberg's the former mayor of New York.
I know, but like
Michael Bloomberg is a fairly accomplished politician, and he founded he's like the fourth richest American in the United States, which translates to a lot of people, which a lot of people think, oh, so he like knows what he's doing. Like lots of people think that.
A lot of idiots, yes.
Well, I think it takes some level of basic competence to start Bloomberg Financial.
That is
it's a very complicated business in a high tech sector, very competitive sector, and he still made like $100 billion. So
he is a successful businessman. No, that's truth.
Yeah. So as of January 17th of 2020, Mike Bloomberg spent just under $200 million. Tom Steyer spent just over 123 million. Buttigieg spent about 20 million. Sanders spent about 20 million. Warren and Yang also spent more money than the eventual nominee, likely presumptive nominee, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden didn't have to spend anything. His name's attached to Barack Obama.
Okay, but the point is, the people who spent a ton of money really didn't get anywhere.
Well, there's a lot of variables here.
Yeah, sure, but when the two people who spent more than each of these people spent more than everyone else combined, and they won like $15, 15 votes and a bag of chips.
Well, I think that's also kind of the reason they had to spend so much, is because they were already that far behind, you know?
Yeah, but but the point I'm just trying to make is that like Mike Bloomberg was on TV nonstop for like a month, and it just like he got on stage, and then we said, "Oh,
he imploded on stage." Yeah.
Yeah. And so what actually mattered at the end of the day was his political performance.
Yeah,
I
be competent.
Disagree that you got to show up to the debate, and that's probably the primary thing.
No. He shouldn't have showed up to the debate. He should have just kept buying ads.
That's a good. That's a good. I think
he would have won a couple states if he didn't show up and he just kept buying ads. And he was like, "I'm not talking to you."
I would agree, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, you do have to have a good debate performance. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. I'm just saying that the whole reason he was able to get on the debate stage is because of his incredible spending.
Right, but then at the end of the day, that didn't end up mattering.
Yeah, it did. Well, yes, that's why I'm agreeing.
Just like in Social Network.
On the debate stage.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad we could resolve that.
That was a tangent, but...
Quite a tangent.
It started with the information thing, just me not liking Facebook and not liking Mark Zuckerberg as a person. But that's my whole point, is I don't think you have to like the main character of something for it to be good. You obviously think Steve Jobs is a far more interesting person than Mark Zuckerberg, and I think
more interesting doesn't mean that I would like him more. I think if I were to meet Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, I would like Mark Zuckerberg more.
You think Steve Jobs is a more inspiring creative figure?
Yes.
Okay. I think that means the movie is like
in their portrayals about him. In their portrayals.
Okay.
I'm saying that they are portrayed differently.
Okay.
Like, Mark Zuckerberg probably. I mean, I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg, the jury is still out, right? Like all he's done is found his business, so
He's got like a family. He's been a pretty good dad. So like, yeah, he's probably a better guy. Like,
sure, he's cool. Like whatever.
Steve
Jobs or Zuckerberg.
Terrible person, right? To his life.
Jobs or Zuckerberg?
Jobs. He denied that his child was his child for a long, long time.
Hey, 28 million people could have been that child's father. That's in the movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Worst corporations ranked. Top 5 worst. Do you have any?
Good. They're all good.
A big fan of Google. Probably like Google a lot.
You did? Are you done?
I'm posting this on a Google platform. That's funny, but
yeah, sure. They're gonna come for you.
We're gonna get censored.
Hey, what corporations do you guys have a problem with?
I don't think Amazon's like it's not like great, but it's not like, I don't know, people's opinion is probably too low of it.
They own 7% of the internet. No one knows that.
Yeah, I mean, it's done. It also has done a lot for making our lives easier in that way. But Disney, I don't like Disney. Disney's terrible. I hate Disney.
I don't like
Disney's
Disney.
number one
That's a
worst.
good shout. I hate
I don't
Disney.
think anyone likes
Disney's
Disney.
so bad. I hate Disney. That's no, but it still has like a fairly good public image. That's the problem. Like it doesn't get the hate that Amazon does, at least, you know. And I think Disney's worse than Amazon.
Disney is overrated. Amazon is maybe underrated.
Yeah. But Amazon gets a ton of crap, but when Disney like gets away with like very
Disney
little.
is so bad.
Because Disney
It just hides behind Mickey Mouse. It hides behind Mickey Mouse. It hides behind the kids' characters.
It hides behind socially woke kids' character.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's funny how they're like people are always like, why are they doing these like live action remakes? You know, like why are they so obsessed with it? And I think really the whole like idea here is because
AC money.
Because but their old classic properties are like not socially like a lot of the ideas they're promoting.
Yeah.
Okay, so they need to remake these stories with socially acceptable ideas. You know, which is why.
Also, like Coco's so bad. Like they just like took. No, I mean just the idea of it. Like they just take this like they should. It's not. It doesn't. They should invest in like Hispanic filmmakers or like animators and stuff like that instead of just like taking. I'm saying just like Disney, like shouldn't just have the
Pixar.
No, Pixar is great. But their old Pixar films are so good. I love Pixar.
People don't
before they got taken over by Disney.
In Disney and Pixar, like
no, yeah, I know.
Like I just saw Onward. I don't know if you guys have watched that. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a very good movie. But
I love the Pixar's old stuff's all good. All of it. I love it. Pixar's really good.
And like I like some of their new stuff too. Like I thought Inside Out was really good. I like.
No, I hate Inside Out. Inside Out.
Really interesting.
It's so like art has to show, and Inside Out just tells. That's the antithesis.
I liked Coco a lot.
I know. It's just like Disney and Pixar just using like the like Latin America as like a backdrop for their story instead of like actually doing something and promoting, you know, instead of like investing in those like artists down there.
I still think they tell a good story. But like I would agree, the motives aren't like amazing for the reason that movie was made.
No, I mean, I'm not saying the story
isn't the things I actually have problems with is like the Disney movies, like they're like live action remakes and stuff. It's all horrible.
I mean,
also just terrible. Like the Lion King. So bad.
Oh, so bad. It took away everything. It didn't understand. Like the end, the climax scene was so bad. I hate it. It's terrible. They didn't.
Aladdin was like shockingly bad. Like, like it was. I was surprised at how bad it was. Like the whole new world scene, I thought was great. It was perfect. But like the whole end.
Like, yeah, and then for Lion King, so
happened in like the same room. Like if you compare that to the original, like the original has such a great like last 15 minutes and oh gosh, the new one pretty bad.
Also, realistic isn't always better. I don't think that should be like I don't know. Disney doesn't understand it.
We're so past like whoa, that looks so real. Like that was
I know. At this point, it's old. Yeah.
People are still so obsessed with that. Like the
rather more interesting stuff. Yeah.
Like we're just past that. It's like the amount of times Disney was like walking around grandstanding, going like, "Did you know like the Lion King was like all computers?" Like, look how real that savannah looks. It's like, yeah, like we were doing that 10 years ago. Like, I mean, it's not. I just think that's in the past.
It's like it's supposed to be a live action remake, but it was entirely made with computers, and it's like animals, and it's like, wait, I'm confused.
It's just another animated.
This is live. You just made it.
No, yeah. When I first heard it, that's what I thought. I thought it was like the Broadway one or whatever. I didn't.
Like when they said live action, Lion King on Broadway.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't know how they're gonna live action it.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I just think the concept is flawed to like create the exact same film in a different format. It just sounds weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Well, I'm glad we all can agree on that. For Disney.
Yeah, that's a nice note of harmony with which to wind down
disdain for Disney.
Well, I mean, let's see. It's 12:11 on East Coast time. You guys are on the East Coast, right?
Yeah. I'm on the East Coast. Oh, we forgot Garrett is a world traveler.
I mean, I'm back.
Yeah, Garrett, what happened with your mission?
I'm probably gonna get my call
Are you still going as planned?
Tuesday. Yeah, as of now.
Where are you going?
I don't know. I'm getting my call.
Oh, you have to know.
Oh,
but
right.
I just didn't know if coronavirus didn't affect any missionaries at all, or
it did. I could tell you that story like right after I stopped this recording. Thank you guys for.
yeah.
All right. Well,